Hello, this is the Fifth Star Podcast. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Albert.
And we are trying to find our next 5-star movie. When we find a 5-star movie and agree upon it, this podcast will be buried in the snow, forgotten forever.
All right, on this episode, we are reviewing Zootopia 2, which has been 9 years since the first one.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, 2016 was when the original came out. Yeah, it had a massive opening. It made globally $556 million this Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and it became the highest international opening ever for an animated film, which is crazy. Yeah, and fourth all time with any global opening.
More than Frozen 2?
I guess so, yeah.
That's crazy.
And of all the movies, I didn't think Zootopia 2 would
the
have
first
that kind
one
of...
was so beloved.
It was so good.
Beloved. Yeah.
But I feel like Zootopia isn't talked about in that upper echelon of
That's fair.
Disney and
That's fair.
those kind of Pixar movies. I mean,
It's been so long. It's been out of the conversation, I guess.
Yeah, but I always really loved the original. So if we were police partners, would you be more Judy Hopps or the fox?
Between the two of us,
Or which one will be who?
Normally, I would be Judy Hopps,
Yeah.
but you are so much more Judy Hopps.
Am I? Wait, how am I more Judy Hopps?
I think you are. Because she's more obsessive.
Yeah, I guess so.
And
Yeah, but you are not.
you know what? I'm more motivated, though.
There's
I'm
no
more motivated.
There's no like fox element to you at all in terms of like, you know.
I love foxes. I'm a little offended.
I think I'm definitely more of like the rule breaker than.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's true. Honestly, we're both Judy.
Yeah. Just two bunnies.
We're just two.
Two little bunnies on the police force.
Like, we're both worried about getting in trouble.
That's true. That's true. Although they happen to get in trouble really easily.
That's true.
So, all right. Well, 9 years later, we get to see the sequel. What did you think of Zootopia 2?
Well, do we want to guess?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I think you gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Nice. I think...
Is that like good guess? Nice. Like, nice. You nailed it.
I think you gave it a 3.
Okay. Nice. Whatever that means. We shall see. So, spoiler-free thoughts first,
Yes.
and then we'll reveal our scores. Yeah, what did you think?
So, I think that this is the best Disney movie to come out since Encanto.
Is that saying a lot?
I liked it.
What else has there been?
I think I liked it more than Inside Out 2.
What?
I know.
But you
Shocker.
really liked
I
Inside
really
Out.
liked Inside Out 2.
Huh.
I know. It gives you a clue
Interesting.
about what I gave it.
That I'm wrong.
Maybe a little.
I guess that
Just
was
a little bit.
nice. He got it wrong.
But, I mean, it felt like a real story was being told. It felt like there were adult themes, but also kid themes interwoven really nicely. And I think the reason why Zootopia is so cool is because of the world building. It's so creative. Like, all the little details of, like, when they go to... This is, like, a minor spoiler, but they go to the marsh.
Yeah, the marsh
basically.
market. Mhm.
And all of it was just so creatively done. Like, the underwater cafes that the little
Yeah.
sea lions go to.
Mhm.
The cultural differences that they have to come across.
Yeah.
Like, no touching. There's all of these interesting cultural differences that they're having to navigate. Oh, man. I just think the world building is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so question I had was, did you rewatch Zootopia 1?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah.
So
I should rewatch it.
So I rewatched Zootopia 1
It's so
like
good.
2 weeks before watching this. And I watched it with my kids who watched it for the first time and just like loved how good it was. It pretty much held up to like how I felt the first time I watched it.
Yes.
And my kids loved Zootopia 1. And I think it kind of set me up for disappointment in the sequel.
Dang. I thought they stayed really true to the original. Like, I thought they did a really good job carrying it on. But I do agree the first one is still better.
Yeah.
And the first one I actually cried. This one I didn't cry.
Mm.
And I think that it pulling my heartstrings a little extra
Yeah.
was better.
Now, I did think this was fun. Like, it had a lot of funny gags.
Yeah.
And I thought that worked well. But I thought overall the story just wasn't as strong as the first one. In spoilers, we can break it down a little more.
I think I
Um,
agree with you.
yeah. But the thing that they did again in this that was similar to the first and what was really smart and clever about the first is that even though it's a kids movie, there's all these kind of themes that relate to like the real world, and it's
Yes.
talking about bigger things,
It
right? About our
is.
real world. And the first one was more about, kind of like a group of animals, like I guess predators being kind of villainized, and talks about these themes of racism and all these kinds of elements it works so well.
Yeah.
In this one, they do that to a degree, but not. I don't think it's as baked into the kind of main heart of the story. But with the
Interesting.
whole marsh market thing,
Yeah.
you get into this whole thing of the reason why this market exists is because essentially like the poor people have been like cut out
Yeah.
of like this utopia. And because of that, you have all these like outlaws and all this
It's
kind
kind
of
of a
stuff
black
happening.
market in a
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
And to me, you can't help but think about like things like gentrification and
Mhm.
like colonization to a degree. And
Yeah.
um
Or immigration even.
yeah, so I think those elements did kind of still make it interesting.
Right.
But it felt a little bit secondary, compared to the first one, I think.
I definitely feel like the political themes were there,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't like on the nose so much.
Mm.
I still also liked that Judy and the fox have their own personal things they have to overcome as well, because that happened in the first one too.
Yeah.
So I felt like it was kind of almost a repeat of the first one, except I thought they made it refreshing enough that it was different,
Mm.
which I think is pretty clever,
Yeah.
because they took what everyone loved about the first one, kind of rinsed and repeated,
But
but
made it different
made it
enough.
fresher.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah, I would be curious if you rewatch one and
Mhm.
then rewatch two
Yeah.
again, like how you would feel.
Well, that's
Um,
why number 1 is still higher.
okay, in your memory is still higher.
Yeah.
Because
Because this one
it has
is
been,
kind of a repeat
yeah.
almost.
So the dynamic of the two, I liked a lot better in the first.
Yeah, because there's more conflict.
Yes.
Yeah. In this one, they're mostly on the same page already. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is conflict, but in spoilers we can unpack this more. But I think the conflict in the second one is a lot more subdued, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore it's like trying to be kind of about this new dynamic in their friendship and
Mm-hmm.
relationship. But they're still like so sweet together that
Yeah.
it ends up working.
They sort of unpack the characters in a very therapeutic way, where
Mm,
they use a lot of therapy lingo,
yeah.
which is very modern, I guess. But I thought that was really interesting because we got to see why Judy is the way she is,
Mm,
even more so, and like why she needs to prove herself so badly. And I thought that scene that she has like right at the beginning of the movie with the chief was really interesting, because the chief basically tells her that like, you're the first of your kind to ever do this. That is a lot of weight to carry.
mm,
And yes, you need to do a good job because you are setting a precedent and an example for all of these people that could potentially follow in your footsteps.
yeah.
And like, I found that to be a cool setup for her character, of
Mm-hmm.
like, she's sort of dealing with this pressure of being the first of her kind to do something. But then at the same time, she also really cares about justice and really cares about like doing the right thing.
Mm.
And she's sort of holding both of those things. It's very overwhelming.
She definitely puts like a lot of pressure on herself.
Yeah, and
Um,
I liked the way she kind of like arced with it, I
hmm.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I it's not that I didn't like this movie. I think I'd seen the first one just right before, and I think I was comparing it too much to the first. And that was probably my
Mm.
bad, you know? So
Interesting.
I would
Yeah.
say if you guys haven't seen it yet, maybe just go watch the second one
Yeah.
without watching
And
the first
then
one.
watch the first one
Yeah.
again.
Because if you're just watching it to be like, man, it's been 9 years, I miss,
Mhm.
you know, these characters, then it is great to just be able to like see them again and spend time with them.
And you're right, context matters a lot because I've been so disappointed with Disney and Pixar lately that it's just been one bad movie after another with no core meaning or theme that I can really hang on to or think about. And so I found this movie really refreshing because it was like, okay, here we go with an actual theme and message and philosophical viewpoint
See,
that I haven't seen in a Disney movie since like Encanto.
and maybe that's where this movie didn't resonate with me as much because I saw like glimpses of different themes, but it didn't feel really like there was one strong
Like
kind of
tied together.
message. Yeah, that tied it all together. And in general, even with the story, it kind of felt like going from one gag to the next, one
Yeah.
episode to the next, rather than this kind of like really well connected story. And the first one had all of that. You know, it was
Yeah.
strong in theme. It had like a really strong kind of story that was driving everything.
And the inner conflict between them is directly related to the external conflict as well.
Yeah.
The
And
fact that
here,
he's a predator and she's
that's true.
prey.
That's so, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that was so essential to like
Mhm.
them growing in their relationship.
Yeah. It's definitely stronger.
Yeah. Whereas this one, it's like kind of loosely connected. It's more about like, can they, you know, work together or.
I would say that there is a big misunderstanding. And I think the core is misunderstanding and judging too quickly. That is what I would say is the core of this one. But you're right. I think that the first movie is tighter than
Yeah.
that.
Like the external case that they have to solve here feels like it's not directly connected to their dynamic. But you're saying that it is based on
It kind of
misunderstanding.
is. Like there is a theme stated towards the beginning about
Okay.
like communicating is super important.
I guess so. Yeah.
And
That's
the
true.
problem is that
They're,
communication, well, I don't want to say too much, but communication
okay, I
is
could see that now.
the main cause of
Okay.
conflict.
Yeah. It's still a little weak.
I think you're right that the first one is still a lot stronger.
Yeah,
Like,
but that does make more sense now. Now that
Yeah.
you say it that way, it's like, okay, I could see how those two things are related. But okay, well, we'll unpack it more in spoilers. So, do you want to reveal?
let's reveal.
So you thought I would give it a 3.0 out of 5, and I did give it a 3.0 out of 5. Yeah.
I gave it a 4.
Oh, okay. You were making it sound like a 4.5 or something.
I think the first one was a 4.5.
Okay.
I really liked.
Yeah,
first
I
one,
gave the first one a solid 4, maybe borderline 4.5.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But to me, it was like a bigger drop off.
Okay.
And okay, getting into spoilers.
Yes.
You know, this is obviously like about the friendship and the kind of, you know, working relationship between Judy and the fox, right? There's this whole thing about like the chief, and everyone kind of thinks that they're like not a good duo, like they don't work well together and they're like doomed to fail.
Because they're too different. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're both like, you know, kind of like outside of the typical like cop, right?
Yeah.
In that society. But, you know, Judy really believes and she wants to like disprove everyone wrong. And really the fox, his main thing is just like, hey, like, let's just like take it easy. It's not a big deal. But he's just so easygoing throughout the whole thing. And then she's like driving them towards like this case, and he's just kind of like following along. And then it gets to a point where basically she makes the call to like go follow the snake into the water system, and essentially like has them nearly drowned to death, right?
Yeah.
And he saves her, and she doesn't like even recognize that.
Yeah, that made me mad too.
And she's like, oh, like expecting an apology from him. And it makes sense with his character, with how driven she is, that it's like, oh, you lost the trail, you know? But
Yeah.
he's like, dude, I just saved you. And I thought that all that was prime for like this kind of all outright conflict of maybe like we don't get along well together, and maybe this is all a mistake.
Yeah.
Now, it kind of gets there because she's like once he says the
But
whole,
really, they're forced apart. They're
okay,
forced apart without their
it's not
choice.
a
They didn't
choice.
choose. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's very subtle. Like
Mhm.
she kind of comes to this realization like internally of like once he says, not everything is about the case or something like that, that she goes, "Really? Like you think that?" But it's not like the two of them are totally at odds with each other.
I agree. They could have clashed more.
Yeah, and to me that's the
And then their
thing.
makeup would have been better.
Yeah, and that's where like the emotional element of them going on this whole journey, like we've already grown to love these two, right?
Yeah.
And if you see the two of them basically at odds with each other, like I thought the fox, like he should have been a lot more hostile at a certain point of like, you're crazy, like why are you doing this? You're just like you don't care about what I think, and he says these kinds of things, but he says it like very nonchalantly.
Hmm.
So it made it a lot harder for me to be like emotionally invested when it seemed like they were kind of like just going along with each
Yeah.
other.
And I think the weight of the burden Judy was carrying could have been a little more played up
Oh, okay.
because they set it up as like, whoa, this is a huge thing that she's carrying.
Mm.
And then towards the end, it doesn't really feel like as relevant.
Yeah, because when you said
So,
that thing, I totally forgot that they had even mentioned
yeah,
that.
I do feel like they could have really played up the whole like, I have to do this because
Oh,
like
don't
I
you know
have
all
to
these
prove my
people
she
are,
does say she
yeah.
has to prove herself.
Mm,
Um and she needs to be taken seriously. She does say that, but I think that could have blown up into more of a fight.
mm.
Yeah. So they do have that fight, but it could have been bigger,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
obviously the pen breaks and that feels like a moment that their friendship is
Yeah. Because
breaking.
even that moment, it was
But
so subdued. It
yeah, because then they kind of
breaks.
move
And
on.
then she just kind of like looks down. And then you can tell she's hurt.
Yeah.
But she
It's
just like keeps
symbolic.
everything. Oh, you know what? But I guess this is the whole point
What?
of the theme being like communication.
Mm-hmm.
Like even though they're feeling all these things, they're not even in,
Communicating.
I guess, like uh conflict. If
Mm-hmm.
you're willing to fight it out, like you're still communicating, even if it's not always in the most healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
But here they're failing to even do that. And
Yeah.
so I guess it does kind of work then.
Well, and I noticed, and maybe this is, you're going to be so tired of me here talking about this because I've been talking about cultural differences for the last like
Hey,
2
I love
weeks.
talking about cultural differences.
But I felt like this movie was so much about that. Like how
Huh.
cultures clash. And we see that in Zootopia all the time. Every time they go to a different biome,
Mm,
there's like, they're all living together in the same city, but they're divided by these walls.
yeah.
And so whenever they do come into another part of town, there is a culture clash that they are unaware of, unprepared for, and that's where like a communication gap comes into
Mm,
play, where they're not communicating and instead they're judging.
yeah.
And I think that was what this movie was really trying to play up more,
Hmm.
especially with like the whole reptile thing and
Yeah.
like seeing reptiles as creepy and not seeing them as part of their community, a part of their fold,
Hmm.
but just viewing them as strange and unfamiliar.
Yeah.
I think they really did a good job of, yeah, I guess like playing that up. And then they reveal, now that we're in spoilers, that the reptile town used to be like part of the actual city, and then
Yeah.
they got like erased.
Yeah. And not only that, but the very person who made
The
Zootopia
weather
possible, the
walls.
weather walls, was created by a reptile
Mm-hmm.
and then was totally just papered over by
Yeah.
Linksley saying, like, taking
Yeah.
all the credit.
What it immediately reminded me of is Seneca Village in New
No.
York. Have you heard that story?
No.
You're from New York.
I am, yeah.
But there was a entire neighborhood in the 1850s
Okay.
that was made of mostly African American homes, and they all got demolished.
Mm.
They all got told to leave, and that's where Central Park is now.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. That history, that story, like so much of that has been erased,
Hmm.
and people don't know that. Like, you literally lived in New York your whole life. You never knew
I've been in
that.
Central Park many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not the whole park. It's just like half the park.
Oh, I mean, because the other interesting thing is like Harlem, which is just north of the park, predominantly used to be like African American community and also like Spanish Harlem and all that. But
Mm.
it's, over time, the past few decades has been very gentrified, where you have like all these kind of young professionals like moving up there and really pushing out a lot of kind of people in that
Mm.
community. And this has happened. I mean, this is like every city goes through this, but you really see it very clearly happen in certain areas of different cities. Um,
It's
and
true. Every city went through
yeah,
a
but it still
redlining and
happens.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's like this element of like, well, along with similar to the marshland, right?
Yeah.
Marsh market, like along sometimes with the kind of lower income and poverty comes some like crime and, some of those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then with like money coming in,
Yeah.
it quote unquote cleans up the neighborhood, right? Increases property
Mm.
value, it boosts economy, lowers crime sometimes, and things like that.
Yeah.
But is also displacing like people and,
Yeah.
pushing them into like a different section of like a city or a community. So I did enjoy that this movie is really like touching on some of those things.
Yeah.
And that's where like this whole Zootopia. I mean, I think that's really at the heart of it, right? Like we all want and like the idea of like a utopia.
Yeah. A city where we could all live
Yeah.
together.
Every kind of people and
Mhm.
all that can coexist.
Yeah.
And if
That's the dream.
yeah, and if lambs and lions can
Be
coexist
friends.
and like run a city together,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh yeah, if that could happen there, then why can't it happen here among humans, right? And so that's
Yeah.
kind of the appeal, I think, of this world that they've built. And
Mhm.
I agree. I think it's cool that they kind of expanded more on that lore.
I think too, it's a good way to kind of have these conversations with kids. I think that's what I like about the Zootopia movies is that it makes it easier in a way, I think, for kids to understand how cities work, kind of how politics work,
Yeah.
kind of how systematic injustice works. And it's like a nice metaphor for educating kids.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Inside Out is good for educating kids on like emotional health and
Yeah.
stuff. And so I kind of like it when movies do that, especially kid movies.
Yeah. But it's also
Um,
like fun and they don't have to worry about that and you can still enjoy it, right? Because
Yeah.
my kids totally missed all of that in Zootopia 1.
Right. They probably won't, unless they like rewatch it later
Yeah, as
on.
they get
They won't
older.
see the parallels.
Yeah, but they still loved it and they loved the
Mhm.
second one too. I did wish that there was more of Flash.
Flash,
Yeah.
Flash.
The
100-yard
sloth.
dash.
Yeah, I loved Flash in the first one, and he makes like a little appearance here, but
Little
it's so
cameo.
quick. And this movie has like a handful of cameos and some like references and things like that I thought were really funny.
There were a lot of references to the first one.
So Ratatouille, the little
that was
Ratatouille,
so funny.
that was really funny.
I knew it.
I knew it. Yeah, so you see a little Remy appearance. I thought the Shining reference was
Dude,
really good.
That was really good.
That was really cool. But part of me was also like, man, my kids have no idea what is happening.
Well, that's
here.
for you.
Yeah, I guess it's for the
They
adults.
still loved it.
Yeah, because
but
there was
there are
also
all these little jokes for the adults.
because there was also like the Silence of the Lambs.
Mhm.
So I thought all that was really fun. The way that they did all that.
Yeah.
There
were like actor cameos too, like Steve Irwin's son. I can't remember his name. He is the koala at the end in Australia.
Oh, okay.
So they had him do a little
that's
voice.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Did you watch the post-credit scene?
What happens?
There's a post-credit scene where her neighbors are yelling at her.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Mm-hmm.
Whose neighbors?
Judy's.
Okay.
Neighbors are yelling at her. And then, well, they're kind of yelling at each other too. And then she leaves the room and a feather lands on her windowsill.
Okay.
Meaning
so
birds.
There's gonna be like a sky world?
Birds.
Oh.
That's
okay.
the tease, is that
for
the
Zootopia
next
3?
Either Zootopia 3 or maybe they're gonna do a show. is going to be about birds.
Hmm.
Yeah. But I noticed that when they went to the marshland, they had fish and the sea lions were eating the fish.
Oh yeah,
And
is
I was
that
like,
allowed?
are we
Are
allowed to
fish
have
not
So
animals?
fish are not animals. Fish are not allowed to be sentient in Zootopia, apparently. We can do all the other ones,
Don't tell
reptiles,
Nemo.
mammals, and yeah. Oh, I also feel like insects. Let's hope insects aren't. I mean, they
So
were eating
is
insects.
this one of like
The
the
lizards were.
Pixar what's that, theories or whatever, where
Oh
all
yeah,
the
where the
movies are
animals become
connected
sentient.
into?
Yeah, they were part of that. Go ahead.
Did you see the Paubert Linksley twist coming?
No, I was kind of sad about that
Oh, because you really want him to be good?
because I liked him.
Yeah.
And him turning out to be evil, I was like, why?
So when he first showed up, and I was like, oh, okay, he might secretly be bad.
Really?
Yeah. But they did such a good job of making him like believable as a good guy
Just like dopey.
that I totally like dismissed it. I was like, oh no, he's totally good. They had me convinced.
That's
and
funny.
then they flipped it. And I was like, I was impressed that they got that twist to happen.
And
Because
she's like, there was a really big twist in our last case. And then
yeah.
I should have seen it coming, but I also didn't want to see it coming because
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard when that happens.
I know he seems so believable as like wanting to like not follow in the footsteps of his corrupt family and stuff.
He like wanted to help the snake so badly out of
Yeah.
the goodness of his heart.
But
And I was
it
like,
also
oh, there's hope for the Linksley family.
yeah, but it also made sense with his character that he's like, I
Trying to
want to be
prove.
accepted and yeah, prove himself to his dad, and
Yeah.
so the twist was convincing,
Yeah.
So I
That's
thought that
true.
worked well.
And I think the only character that I didn't really appreciate was probably the horse.
Dude, yes, I agree.
Because I think the horse could have made him way better.
Well, they kind of make him just like a caricature, like he's just like a silly.
He's a complete joke
Yeah.
until he becomes like the Deus
he's like,
Machina
yeah,
at the end.
yeah, he's like a.
He like saves the day, and
you're not really sure why he
You're
switches
not.
sides all of a sudden.
it felt very unearned.
Yeah, because he was totally
Yeah.
under like the thumb of the Linksley, and you
Yeah.
know was like subservient to him. And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, in the most important moment, he like.
we needed like one piece of blackmail or something that the Lynxes were like holding over his head. Then when he rebels against them, it's like earned because it's like, oh, I'm finally not under your thumb anymore.
Yeah.
But because he was just doing what he told him because he was just like scared of them.
I mean, I
I
guess
was like, okay, if you're so scared of them, why are you able to beat him up at the end when you could have done that all along? I don't know.
yeah, maybe it's because he feels like the good guys have the upper hand, and
Yeah, I
don't
guess
know.
so. I just think it may have been more interesting if the Lynxes were like, we know what you did, blah, 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 and make them a little more sinister.
What could have maybe worked is if he was still, I don't know if he's still like an actor as he's, running an office, but maybe if they were like in charge of, I don't know, producing his next movie or something like that, And then in the end, he's like, forget my vanity, forget my career. I'm going to do the right thing for Zootopia,
That would have been better, yeah. That would have been better.
The first one, both the Lion Mayor
Mm-hmm.
and especially Bellwether, they were both like really good like characters, I think, that felt like real in that world. But this horse mayor just seemed kind of like a caricature.
He was, yeah, I agree. And I think the whole...
I mean, that was kind of intentional. They were just trying to make him funny, I guess.
Anyway, I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. I was entertained. And then I still thought like the messaging was good. I liked that the fox was forced to communicate. The bunny was forced to face the weight, I guess, of her experience and then share that weight with the fox. Like, I thought their crossover arc was really good, I guess.
Yeah.
They had to meet in the middle. I liked that they still dealt with like a more adult themes with culture erasure and culture clashing and all that.
Yeah. The ending of when they're oversharing, I thought was really funny. So initially they're, kind of do it a little bit and then they keep doing it and then you kind of think like, oh, this is like going too far, but then they just keep at it, and then after a while, like, it just becomes really funny. I thought.
Yeah.
So I thought that worked really well. And I think the thing I appreciate about like us talking about these movies and having this podcast and these discussions is that, like, I think that theme, the connective tissue of like communication or the lack thereof, and how that impacts all of these things and lies and secrets. Like, I kind of missed some of that. So now that you kind of articulate that, I think it makes me appreciate all of it more. Because I kind of see how because the oversharing is like, finally the dam is burst, and all the things that they haven't said said to each other throughout the movie is like all coming out. So yeah, I think it all kind of works better for me now. Yeah. I'm gonna have
Are
to
you gonna
watch it
stay
again.
at a 3?
I'm gonna have to watch it again and then maybe decide.
Well, I'll have to watch this first one again.
Yeah, if you watched Zootopia 2, let us know what you thought.
Yeah, and you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Letterboxd, or Apple Podcasts.
And join us next time as we continue our quest for the 5th star.